Star Trek brings back Voyager's brilliant tech, but for a different hologram, Dr. Star Trek Voyager added much to the franchise, and Star Trek Lower Decks' final season brought back one of the most exciting things discovered by Kate Mulgrew's Captain Catherine Janeway and her crew. The Star Trek Voyager cast was given a unique challenge, as it was the first installment of the saga set entirely outside the Alpha Quadrant. The ship's journey home through the Delta Quadrant brought with it many perils, but also allowed for some brilliant discoveries. And one last-minute addition to the Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 cast has brought one of the best devices back. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 Episode 9, Fisher Quest, is a thrilling multiverse story that draws on the larger franchise throughout. Many Star Trek TV shows are represented in the episode with clever Easter eggs, some of which can be easy to miss. However, the return of a key member of the Star Trek Deep Space Nine cast also brings with it a powerful nod to Robert Picardo's time playing the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager, and the show's most underrated piece of sci-fi technology. The Doctor's mobile emitter was introduced in Star Trek Voyager Season 3's Future's End two-parter. It allowed Picardo's holographic character far more autonomy than ever before, allowing him to go pretty much anywhere rather than just areas fitted with holo emitters. Although mobile emitters have appeared in other shows like Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Prodigy, the comeback in Fisher Quest constitutes its most substantial and exciting use, as it also allows Alexander Siddig to return to the franchise as Dr. Julian Bashir. Only this time, he's in holographic form. The Bashir in Fisher Quest isn't from Star Trek's Prime Universe, but his presence does pay off a storyline from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 16, Dr. Bashir, I presume? In the episode, Picardo guest stars as Dr. Louis Zimmerman, the creator of the emergency medical hologram. Zimmerman intended to use Bashir as the template for an updated version of the EMH, but such an iteration was never fully developed. The Bashir in Fisher Quest likely originates from a universe where Zimmerman succeeded, and the holographic Bashir achieved sentience, just like Picard's Voyager character. Star Trek Prodigy Season 2's cast brought Picardo's character back to the franchise for the first time since Star Trek Voyager ended in 2001. In the animated spin-off, which serves as a spiritual and pretty much literal successor to Star Trek Voyager, Picardo's character can be seen still proudly wearing his mobile holo emitter. This makes sense, as he remains in service as a Starfleet officer, and so needs to retain his autonomy in order to do his job effectively. However, there's something very interesting about it too. The Doctor appears to be wearing exactly the same device as he wore throughout most of Star Trek Voyager, rather than a replica or an updated version. Because the mobile emitter is so much more advanced than 24th century technology, it would make sense if Starfleet were to take the emitter from him and try to reverse engineer it so that other holograms may experience the same level of freedom. So either Starfleet succeeded in this and gave it back to the Doctor, or they failed and returned it all the same. Alternatively, the Doctor may never have surrendered it at all. In the vast, ever-expanding universe of Star Trek, technological innovation has always played a central role in storytelling. From the warp drive to the transporter, these advances in science and engineering have defined the saga's appeal. However, one of the most beloved technologies introduced in Star Trek Voyager was the Emergency Medical Hologram, or EMH, embodied by the unforgettable Doctor, portrayed by Robert Picardo. While Voyager's holographic Doctor stood out for his wit, depth, and memorable character arc, the recent return of Voyager-era technology in a new Star Trek series offers fans a different twist. A new hologram Doctor emerges, utilizing the same tech, but in a fundamentally altered way. In Voyager, the EMH was originally designed as a temporary substitute for human medical staff, meant to assist in emergencies when the real doctors were incapacitated or unavailable. The Doctor, known primarily as the Mark I EMH, was activated for what should have been brief periods to handle medical situations aboard the USS Voyager after the ship was stranded in the Delta Quadrant. However, with no organic medical personnel on board after Voyager's chief medical officer was killed in the pilot episode, the EMH took over full medical duties. Over time, what was once a simple program became one of Star Trek's most complex and evolving characters. The Doctor's arc dealt with the questions of sentience, personhood, and the rights of artificial beings. This arc was not only deeply philosophical, but also personal, exploring how a program designed for a single function could surpass its limitations and develop into something greater, even gaining aspirations of artistry and self-expression. By the end of Voyager, the EMH had grown beyond his programming and become a fully realized individual, recognized not just for his medical skill, but for his inherent dignity. Fast forward to the latest Star Trek series, Picard, Discovery, or perhaps an entirely new chapter, and we see this holographic technology once again in the spotlight. This time, however, it's used to create a new kind of doctor, one that reimagines the very idea of holographic caregivers. The Voyager-inspired tech returns, but it's no longer focused solely on emergency situations or medical functions. This new iteration of the hologram doctor brings a broader range of applications, designed for missions far beyond standard medical care. The technology has been expanded to create a new form of sentient assistance, holographic doctors capable of handling specialized roles such as psychological evaluation, xenobiology, or even interspecies diplomacy. By taking the EM's original framework and enhancing it with newer algorithms, improved artificial intelligence, and deeper adaptive learning, Star Trek revives the beloved Voyager tech, but with much more versatility. Unlike the Voyager Doctor, who started as a blank slate and gradually developed his personality, this new hologram doctor comes pre-programmed with advanced social and ethical knowledge. The program has been designed with centuries of research in interpersonal relationships, emotional intelligence, and cross-cultural communication. This doctor is not just a healer in the medical sense, it is a healer of minds, of hearts, and of societies. In many ways, this doctor becomes a new type of counselor, part empath, part diplomat, part scientist. One of the most exciting aspects of this new hologram doctor is the fact that it engages more actively with the philosophical questions Star Trek has always loved exploring. In Voyager, the Doctor's quest for personhood paralleled many of the ethical debates around artificial intelligence today, and this new holographic Doctor takes those same issues in even more nuanced directions. This time, the program isn't just asking, "Am I sentient?" but is instead deeply integrated into Starfleet's societal infrastructure, challenging the very concept of what constitutes individuality in a universe where sentient holograms work side by side with biological beings. The show delves into the consequences of mass-producing such intelligent, emotionally sophisticated programs. If an entire fleet of starships carries these sentient holograms, are they seen as simply tools, or do they gain the same respect as their human counterparts? Does Starfleet risk creating a new underclass of sentient beings, as was hinted in the Voyager episode Author, where holograms were relegated to mining and other menial jobs? The holographic doctor's ability to engage with patients on a deeply personal and emotional level also raises questions about the boundaries of the therapeutic relationship. Can a program, no matter how advanced, truly understand the nuances of human or alien emotions? Is there a limit to what a non-corporeal being can grasp about the lived experiences of those it treats? And if these holographic doctors can form real, emotional connections, do they themselves begin to feel the burden of those connections? In the end, Star Trek's return to Voyager's brilliant holographic technology is not just an homage to the past. It is a reinvention that takes the core concepts of the original EMH and amplifies them for a new era of